Hello and welcome into BTN's Take 10 podcast. This is Alex Roux of BTN. We're back after a couple weeks off here on the Take 10 podcast with a brand new episode. And we get into the reasons why we were on a brief hiatus deeper into the episode here. I was overseas, out of town for a couple weeks, so the podcast took a back seat. But luckily, we were able to get an interview done even while I was out of the office. For the first time ever on the Take 10 podcast, we had a pinch hitter conducting an interview as my colleague, Brent Yarina. If you follow BTN's social media accounts, you've probably seen Brent's Twitter presence. He's very active on Twitter, has like 5 times more followers than I do, and is a star for us on the social media scene. And Brent stepped up and filled in and offered to do an interview while we were gone because we had Bruno Fernando, the Maryland Terrapins 2-year star in basketball, in our studio. And like I said, Brent stepped up and knocked out an interview with Bruno a couple weeks ago. I think it was about a week and a half ago as of this taping. And we're going to have that interview here on this latest episode of the Take 10 podcast. So pretty cool. We got Eric Ayala of Maryland a couple weeks ago, actually about a month ago, and now we have Bruno on. So heavy dosage of the Terps lately here on the Take 10 podcast. And like I said, for the first time, made a little history on the show and had a pinch hitter. And shout out to Brent for stepping up and doing that. And maybe it's something we can incorporate more going forward, as he killed it and got a great 15-minute discussion with Bruno, which you'll hear coming up. So after that discussion with Bruno, I'm back on the show with another Call for the Culture segment. If you've not heard the Take 10 podcast before, Call for the Culture is a discussion with my producer Colleen Degnan, where we chop it up about all things sports and pop culture and kind of the intersection of entertainment, social media, and sports, with a good amount of Big Ten discussion as well as just casual banter. So Colleen and I catch up, discuss the couple weeks break, what's been going on since then, and talk everything from NBA Finals, Stanley Cup Finals, to some of the Twitter shenanigans that have been ensuing from those marquee events, and talk, like I said, entertainment, sports, pop culture, and it's a fun discussion. So 2 segments coming up. Like I said, we got Brent and Bruno, and then Call for the Culture with Colleen, and the Bruno interview is up first. So let's get right to that. It's Take 10 podcast interview with Bruno Fernando featuring Brent Yarina. It starts right now.
Sitting here with former Maryland star, Bruno Fernando. Bruno, you're in town for the NBA draft coming up, and just tell us what you've been doing while you've been just hanging out in Chicago.
It really hasn't been much. It's just been a lot of work and workouts. Just really trying to stay ready for the draft and stay prepared for team workouts and stuff like that. So just really a lot of training. And obviously, I signed with the agency that's based here in Chicago. So, getting around here and getting close and get to know everybody, the agency and the office and everything like that. But it'd be mostly just training.
With other Big Ten stars in the past, who have you been working with?
It's Carson Edwards is here with us, Ethan Happ, and Isaiah Roby from the Big Ten.
Are they pretty good guys?
Yeah, really, really good guys. It was just, on the court was different last year, obviously playing against each other. We didn't have that close of a relationship, but now that we all work out with each other, it's just crazy how we all bond so close.
Well, I think that's 3 first-team All-Big Ten players there.
Yeah.
Just when you guys get in the same room, are you talking basketball? Are you talking Big Ten? What's kind of the conversations like?
We had a lot of different conversations. I think, it was times when we first got here, it was times that we talked about Big Ten and how we played against each other, teams who won, who lost, just the battles we all had. We all obviously had those conversations, but yeah.
Well, what have the NBA teams told you about your chances, your game, what to expect on draft night?
Just talking to my agent and Coach Thursday and everybody, that I have in my circle, just kind of teams are really excited about me, and I think that's really one of the biggest things that played a big role in my decision to be leaving Maryland and be all in the draft. Just, how big of a chance I have in front of me to obviously make a dream come true. And, draft night, I just, expect to hear my name called.
What was the toughest part about leaving Maryland, making that decision to go pro?
It was just, I'll say probably, my coaching staff, my teammate, the fans, the school itself, the environment. Like, I love Maryland so much. And I think that was like, cause for me, everywhere I go in the States is far away from home. So I kind of got to make it home wherever I'm at. And I think Maryland was that place that it finally felt like home. Like, I was really, like, comfortable. And it was like this is my spot. And for me to leave that again and try to go find another place now to make it home, that was really a tough part for me.
And you're leaving a team that has some talent with Cowan,
Right.
Jalen Smith. Just what kind of team do you expect Maryland to have next year?
I expect them to be really, really good. I can see really Maryland winning the Big Ten title. I think we got a lot of talent on the team already. Everybody's coming back by me, and we added a lot more talent. And I think with the guys coming in, the guys already there returning. Obviously, we expect them to make a huge jump from freshman to sophomore year. And obviously the freshmen coming in, really good players, and I'm just extremely excited to really watch and get to see how much better they get throughout the year.
How did Turgeon and his whole coaching staff get you ready for the NBA and the transition you're going to be making? I think
Coach Turgeon and the coaching staff and Maryland itself, I think everybody really that I got a chance to work with really helped me so much in so many ways. I think off the court they did a tremendous job with me and just keeping me grounded and making sure I don't get caught up on anything and just stay true to myself. And on the court is just how much better I've got. Just off season taking advantage of everything and taking advantage of all the resources we have there at school and the opportunity that comes in front of me every game. Coach Turgeon always made sure he does the best of his ability to make sure I succeed and every single one of my teammates succeed on the court. So I think that really prepared me for this next step that I'm taking now.
After you hear your name called, most mocks I see have you first round. Mm-hmm. What's going to be that first thing you purchase, that first thing you kind of indulge on?
I haven't even thought about that, honestly. Like I don't know. It's such a big thing for me. It's just to think about, making that dream come true that I haven't really actually thought about the other things that come with it. Like, I haven't even thought about what I would buy first, what I would do first. Like, I'm just thinking about, man, whenever I hear my name called and I find out whatever team I'm going to, it's just going to be so special. Obviously, for me, it's an honor. It's a huge moment because being from Angola, a place where nobody has ever made it to the NBA, so to have a chance to be the first one, it's just kind of something that would be my first thought in mind. It's probably after summer league and whenever I get a time off, probably go home and just trying to go do a camp or something like that at home and just try to give those kids hope and just I've been in their shoes before. If somebody from their shoes and their background was able to make it, then they definitely able to do the same thing. That would probably be the first thing I would do.
That's great. What would it mean for Angola? Just like when you go back there, obviously they know you, they know you're an NBA prospect. What would it mean to the country for you to be the first NBA player, and just how proud would they be of you?
I think it would mean a lot. I think just right now at this point in my life where I'm at, I think everybody there is already proud of me. I think they're already proud of the steps I've taken this far, and for me to obviously be able to be in this position. And I think it's just everybody's gonna be happy. I think it's a dream that like I said, it's not just mine. It's a whole country behind that. It's everybody really dreaming about that for such a long time. And we always, watch. Angolan people love basketball, and Angolan people love watching NBA. And the fact that we always watching other players from places close to us, like Congo, Nigeria, but we never had our own. And for me to be in this position to actually, be able to break that and be that guy that opens the door for everybody else, I think is going to be huge for Angola as a country. And I think just everybody going to be extremely happy and excited, and we're going to start seeing a lot more Angolans coming to the United States, going to the NBA games and stuff like that.
Is there any way that you personally, on your uniform, on your shoes, any way that you honor Angola, to just show your pride?
I think I do in everything I do, every social media, Instagram post, everything, Twitter, anything like that. I just feel like, I always think about what I'm from. It's one thing with me. I never forget what I came from, and just some people helped me to be in this position, so I gotta make sure I put my arm out there to help the other ones be in this position one day. So I always just think about the other kids that are at home that wish they were in my position. So for me to be able to be in this position to one day be able to go back and help those kids, you know, and put them in that position that I'm at today. So it's just extremely gratifying. Like,
well, speaking of kids, you're one of 8.
Mm-hmm.
Best part of that?
I'll probably say best part of being one of 8 is just like, you know, you can do everything with your brothers. Like, I got 4 brothers and 3 sisters. Like, you can do everything. You can play soccer with them. You can play basketball. You can, like, play around with your brothers anytime and anywhere. So, like, you don't really have that much of necessity to go out there, you know, to try to make too many friends. Obviously, I like making friends and everything like that. But just my parents, like, we grew up in an environment that it was kind of like just, you know, close and just all of us getting close to each other and getting to know each other each and every day. So, like, best part of the day is probably just, you know, being able to do everything with your brothers and, like, just having that many brothers to play around with and just, and just all of them. My family is very loud and energetic and enthusiastic. So, like, yeah, that's probably the best part of it.
There's a lot of energy around the Fernando house.
Yeah.
How about the worst part of being one of 8?
Probably I'm the only tall one. Like, nobody else is. Everybody's like, ain't nobody else plays sports, so like I'm the only athlete in the family.
How'd that happen?
So like we used to play soccer, me and my older brothers. Like all of us used to play soccer growing up, and then when I changed to basketball, everybody just quit soccer. So then everybody was just like, we're gonna focus on Bruno doing basketball, and that's it.
And when did you officially start playing basketball?
I was 9.
9.
Yeah.
And what was only playing soccer before that? What were you good at basketball right away, or was it something that took some time?
Nah, I was not. So like I played soccer and never played basketball before. I just played soccer the whole time, and then when I switched to basketball, it was kind of like trying first, just like let me see what it's like, type of thing. And then like everything, the first few months doing it are not the best, obviously. Mm-hmm. So like I just try to stick with it and just like, you know, keep getting better and better and better, and then it took me to this point.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I know you freshman year is mostly just down low, dunking. This past year you stretched your game out. Where do you see yourself in the NBA? Is it going to be as like a stretch 4? Like what area do you think you're going to be filling for an NBA team?
I think I could definitely do multiple things. You know, for an NBA team, I could be a stretch 4. I could be a 5. I think I could do those things very well, and I think it's only going to get better from where I'm at right now. I think my game is only getting better. I think my room for improvement is so much, and I just feel like as long as I keep working on my game, it will always, you know, be improvements made. And I feel like I said, I could be a stretch 4, you know, guys that can always pick and pop, set a lot of screens and pop, and take guys off the dribble from the top of the key, from the elbow, from the wings and stuff like that, shoot corner threes and stuff like that. Just kind of like being able to space the floor and give everybody room to operate. And, you know, obviously like I said, I could be the guy that, you know, it's kind of like, you know, that anchor, you know, on defense for the team, you know, being able to like protect the rim. Even I could do that as a 4-man, you know, being able to protect the rim and just, you know, on offense, just making things easier for everybody. Just, you know, setting good screens, rebounding, and just, you know, doing the little things really on the court.
Well, I know you're a big KG fan. Is there an NBA player who you watch recently or currently that is kind of like, that's who I could be?
Like I said, I watch a lot of NBA players, NBA bigs. I don't think it's necessarily one player that I'd be like, you know, I want to play like him. But like I said, I take a lot of little things from everybody's game. Like, I watch a lot of Joel Embiid for sure, just how dominant he is on both ends of the floor, especially, you know, down low on the post, how easy it is for him to score and just do things of that nature. And Clint Capella, how he plays defense, you know, his ability to switch on guards and screens and just move his feet laterally and just be able to just stay in front of the ball. And Montrezl Harrell, just, you know, how much he loves the game of basketball, his energy and passion on the court. I think it's something that I relate to. Just like he plays every game like it's a gift, like, you know what I'm saying, like it's the last game of his career, so he embraces time. And Miles Turner, obviously I watch him a lot. LaMarcus Aldridge, just kind of like different skills that they have on the court.
Well, you mentioned earlier just how much you love being at Maryland. What, other than the coaching staff and the fans, what did you love about being a Terp?
I probably love everything about being a Terp, man. It was just, Maryland was such a great experience for me. I just, you know, for me, how I would put it, it's like I wish everybody could go through the same thing I went through to just like experience Maryland the way I did. I think like Just every aspect of it, just like the fans, the environment, the school itself, the academic people, like, and I think a lot of it has to do with who I am and my personality, my character. I mean, I'm a guy that sometimes I'll just pop in people's office and just start high-fiving people, just saying hi to people, just going around really trying to, say hi and make people's day better. So I think, that really was kind of like the thing that had the impact that had on me, Maryland. So like, I was really close to everybody, never had any trouble, never had any problems. So like, it was just everything itself really, like Maryland as a whole, just kind of like, it's just so many moments that go through my head right now, and I'm like, I can't pick one specific moment, but like, Maryland just as a whole was everything, man.
Well, I know when a lot of people think about Maryland, there's the uniforms. Mm-hmm. Do you have a certain uniform that you guys wear that you like the most?
I like the white one, the home uniforms, the white ones we wore.
Yeah. What do you like about those?
I just felt like, playing at home with that white jersey every time is just a different feeling. Mm-hmm. Like playing at Xfinity Center and just you looking around and, it just feels different.
Now, I don't know what the Angolan cuisine is like, but Maryland, you obviously have the crabs. The crab. Did you get into that kind of food there?
We had crabs. So like before the season, we had that thing, which is like we do it every year before every season. Like we go to Coach Thurston's house and we just eat a whole bunch of crabs. So like I've had crab before there while I was at Maryland. So I was twice because it was my sophomore and freshman year, but yeah, probably, I didn't eat much seafood, honestly, but, like, I've had the crabs before, so, yeah. Okay.
Well, if you were to recommend some Angolan cuisine, what would it be? What's something that people have to try?
So Angolan cuisine it's a lot of good things, I would say that. It's, for me, because I eat, like, what my mom does every time, like, my mom is probably the best person cooking in the world. But yeah, I would probably, obviously, there's a lot of things. There is feijoada. Which is like rice, with beans and a whole bunch of like different meats mixed with the beans, and it's just really, really, really good. There is cachupa. There is funge, which is like, I would say that's probably our typical, like there's like probably the funge de bombom, milho, calulu, Muamba, it's a lot of things in Angolan. Yeah.
And now you speak Portuguese, right?
Yeah.
So give me a couple lines in Portuguese. Say something and tell me what it is. Just putting you on the spot here.
So I'll say this. Maryland é a melhor escola do mundo. So in Portuguese, I said Maryland is the best university in the world.
Okay. All right. I think the Maryland fans will like that. Well, Bruno, I want to thank you very much for taking the time to join the podcast.
Thank you.
And best of luck at the NBA draft. And wherever you end up, we'll be watching you and following your career.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Appreciate it.
You bet.
All right. Thanks once again to Bruno and Brent for hopping on the show. And again, thanks to Brent for filling in while I was gone. And nice job, Brent, on the interview. And I touch on it here in a little bit, talking to Colleen, but very bummed that I did not get to meet Bruno and do an interview because he's one of my favorite Big Ten players and just a huge personality, dominant player, and we're going to miss him tearing it up for the Terps. So cool to have him in studio, I'm sure. And now we'll jump over to, as I introduced at the top of the show, our Call for the Culture segment with producer Colleen Degnan. We dive into sports, entertainment, social media, pop culture talk, kind of the intersection of all those avenues, and just have a 20 to 30 minute general conversation and just kind of relax and discuss. So get right into that. It's our Call for the Culture segment with Colleen, and it starts right now. All right, we're back with another edition of Call for the Culture, and if we're talking in hushed tones and there's some background noise, it's because our studio has been co-opted with some construction on the exterior of the building. So instead of working through drilling and hammering, we're in a different room. Colleen, what's up?
We're on remote, but welcome back, Alex.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for welcoming me back. It's been a while since we did a podcast episode. It's been 2 weeks, I think we missed. So luckily, while I was gone, pinch hitter filled in for our latest interview. our man Brent Yarina filled in to interview Bruno Fernando. So Brent is my guy, my colleague who does social media with me, and he offered to fill in. So shout out Brent. I always knew he had it in him, and he knocked the Bruno interview out of the park.
Yeah, but in case the listeners don't know, Alex, how was gallivanting and soft smiling across China?
Yeah, soft smiling. If you follow me on Instagram, which I don't think anyone listening does, that's my trademark pose for all my Instagram pictures. But
trademark as an only pose.
I'll keep this brief because I know people don't want to hear about my trip, but it was a cool excursion. It was about 2 weeks, like a week and a half in Asia, mostly China and Hong Kong. And it was just a culture shock in some ways and a great experience. And I was able to go with my friend who's Chinese, and he was able to show me around and open my eyes to a part of the world that I had never seen before. So long story short, great experience. Glad to be back.
I'm dying to know, though.
Yeah.
How did the people take the fanny pack?
I wore a fanny pack around, just keep my passport in, keep my my valuables and my essentials, my portable charger and all that. It was pretty popular. Like, honestly, it was more of a belt bag than a fanny pack, and it was the thing that people sling across their chests. Like, I saw a lot of those bags just around, but I was one of the only people that wore it like a fanny pack. So the fanny pack was the star of the last couple of weeks, and I didn't lose my phone, I didn't lose my passport, and my phone usually had battery, so it worked out. But yeah, it was crazy just to see kind of like, and like I said, I'm not going to bore people with individual stories, but it was crazy to see the scale of some of those cities, like just the amount of distance that like these skylines extend just like as far as the eye can see. And like in a place like Shanghai, like it just goes for miles around with tall buildings. Hong Kong's the same way. And we took a train from Shanghai to Beijing, and it was crazy just to see kind of the suburbs and the sprawl of the kind of outer parts of these cities, and just like thousands, no joke, of high rises that just would go on and forever. And I don't even know if some of these are cities or if they're just, cities in waiting, essentially, that these construction companies that have kind of done the if you build it, they will come approach. And it's just crazy to see like all the construction cranes, the amount of tall buildings, some of the tallest buildings in the world that I was fortunate enough to go up in and see. And it was just an eye-opening experience. So
amazing.
We'll leave it there. Yeah,
while you're gone, you missed some big news, pun always intended.
Yeah.
Got a new commissioner, Kevin Warren.
Yeah, it was 12 hours ahead, or 13 hours ahead. So I was kind of following everything. It was the middle of the night here when I was waking up and seeing everything, but I noticed the Kevin Warren press conference and the news and all that. And I know it was kind of a surprise. Like, it wasn't really a name that people thought was going to pop up, right?
No, definitely not. It came out the Monday, and then he was announced officially Tuesday.
Yeah.
And it was great. It's monumental. He's coming from the Minnesota Vikings.
Did you watch the press conference?
Yes, I programmed the press conference.
Great. Actually, Kevin Warren is a name that I had come across before. I think he had spoken at a University of Illinois event that I was at in the last couple of years. So like I'd known the name and known who he was. I don't know a lot about him beyond that, and I was not able to watch the press conference, but everything that I've read and seen in the days since his introduction have been very impressive. Obviously, it was a groundbreaking hire in terms of being the first black commissioner of a Power 5 conference, so that's cool that the Big Ten was able to lay claim to that, and high praise has been kind of coming from all corners of the sports world. So I think we're in good hands going forward, right? I don't know how you felt about watching the guy speak.
He crushed it. I thought he was very compelling, a very exciting new wave, hopefully, to be hitting the Big Ten. A lot of room for growth.
Yeah.
And it should be great.
Yeah, for sure. And it's always funny to me or interesting that, like, the outgoing commissioner, Jim Delaney, who obviously has had a long run and is retiring in 2020, it's interesting how he'll get booed at events like the Big Ten tournament where he'll present the trophy, the fans will boo him, or he gets a lot of slack on social media and stuff. But it's like, and that's kind of the popular thing to do, is like the commissioner gets booed no matter what sport it is.
I was just going to say,
like,
you could bring that up.
But it's like, I mean, come on, Jim Delaney, by any objective measure, he's done a great job. Like, and I'm not just saying that because our jobs would like the Big Ten Network obviously has been wildly successful in this space. It was the first college network. Payouts to schools are at a record high, like over $50 million a year. The health of our teams, I think overall, is is really good. I saw something where a certain conference that is west of here did not get a team in the Final Four, College Football Playoff, or College World Series. And if you look at the Big Ten, I know we've missed the College Football Playoff the last couple of years, but they're always a presence, at least contending to get into the College Football Playoff. We've had Final Four teams, plenty over the last few years, and going back as far as people can really remember. And then Michigan getting back to the College World Series this year is a huge accomplishment. So
that's really big, I feel like, for Big Ten sports. Baseball hasn't been where we've necessarily been shining.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's so tough in the Big Ten, right, to be as competitive as some SEC schools or ACC.
Pac-12.
Just because of the weather, right?
Yeah.
It's just at a disadvantage, but it's the first Big Ten team to make the College World Series, I think, since Indiana and the Kyle Schwarber days.
Oh, my God.
A few years ago, so interesting to follow. I know it probably puts a little more work on your plate, right? This time of year than would normally be.
Still scheduling some studio, but it's nice. I mean, obviously, always supporting any Big Ten school. That's continuing on, making June a little bit more exciting here.
I think it's Michigan's first appearance in the College World Series since 1984, so historic run for them. And that kind of goes back to my point of, like, consistently having programs that appear on the big stage, on the national stage. Like Michigan, some schools just have all the fun, right? Like Michigan this year had a team. I saw a stat. They had, I think, a team, Sweet 16, College World Series, and major bowl game. They're the only school. It was on Twitter, so I don't know if I have those exact stats right, but they're the only school to accomplish that this year in the whole country. So,
well, yeah,
again, really impressive. And some schools just are great at all sports, and that's one of those years for Michigan.
But also beyond just national stage, international stage, looking at the Women's World Cup right now, there's a pretty good showing on the USA team from girls from the Big Ten.
Yeah, so you're gonna have to fill me in on who that is, because I know the World Cup's starting up. I've been out of the loop, but it is on Fox. That's a big deal for our parent company, Fox, and it's underway. The USA plays Tuesday, so the day this episode comes out, in their first game. Is the USA defending champs, right? Were they World Cup champs? I'll have to look it up. But I think they won the last World Cup and lost the one before that, because I remember their big victory tour a few years ago.
True.
So 2015 defending champs. Do you have the list of alums that are...
Well, I know there's a girl from Rutgers, Penn State, and then the Wisconsin grad, Rose Lavelle. She's our age. She's 24. She's young.
Did you know her in school?
I did not. But still
you
really
weren't good
just
enough at
really
soccer
cool.
to know her.
Not quite my sport, but very exciting. Love the World Cup.
Are you a Women's World Cup fan?
I would say yes. I mean, obviously I don't follow it necessarily otherwise, but some of my really good girlfriends have played soccer very competitively.
Yeah, I know you mentioned that last time. You had a friend that plays professionally, visited in Europe.
Yeah.
But it's cool. It's always a fun event every year, the men's and women's World Cups, and since our men didn't get it done and failed to qualify last year, that the women will have to pick up the slack again, and they're far more competitive than the men pretty much since the Women's World Cup started. They've been a powerhouse. So
seriously, like, cool. I still have like signed soccer balls by Mia Hamm and like Sports Illustrated hanging up with their signatures.
That's cool. Yeah, I mean, I'm always a casual observer, but it should be fun to see. Speaking of summer sports, let's keep moving. We've had 2 final series going on concurrently here, and I haven't been able to watch much of them because I've been gone. But let's start with the NBA Finals. It's been weird because it's the first year I haven't watched the NBA Finals like ever, really, and it's been interesting just to follow and get what I could on social media and
the media.
Pretty much get all my highlights from Twitter and Instagram, and basically follow it as the social media storylines go, and if that's how you're going to consume a sport, the NBA is the best league to do so.
I was just going to say, yeah.
There's been a lot going on.
I definitely am more biased, more so this year than I ever have been to the NBA, just like watching it, and then also at the entertainment around it has been wild. Mm-hmm. Coming off of the Beyonce, Nicole Curran side-eye situation, which is like, really the media just completely exaggerated that.
So I saw that. I don't know if it was the media that exaggerated it from what I understand, because Beyonce and Jay-Z were at Oracle Arena in Oakland.
As the guests.
As the guests of... And Nicole Curran is the woman's name, who's one of the
wife.
Owners,
yeah.
GM, the wife of the GM.
I think one of the owners.
It's one of the high up executives at Golden State, and Beyonce gave like the annoyed look as she was asking as the Mrs. Curran woman was asking Jay-Z what drink he wanted or something.
Yeah.
And just that little snippet took off. And I would say not the media blew out of proportion, but the Beyonce, the Bayhive.
Yeah. True, all of her loyal following.
She got like death threats. Right?
Yeah, she had to like delete her Instagram.
Like that's where it's too toxic.
It's too much.
Like we talked about Aisha Curry a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And her people criticizing her kids or whatever. Like people need to really find better things to do, because it's one thing being a funny meme. Like, okay, Beyonce looks annoyed because she's getting talked over, and she probably wasn't even annoyed in the first place. But like. It's where social media goes too far.
Latches on extremely hard.
So that was one courtside incident that happened in the game, in the series. The other one was, I don't know if you saw this, Kyle Lowry falling in the stands, and the minority owner or investor, I think his title has shifted a little bit or changed, like in the media. I don't know what exactly he is, but the guy gave him a little shove, a little love tap when Lowry dove in the stands.
I cannot believe that. Like, have some class.
Especially if you're a representative of the team. You know?
Yeah, if you have the power to be sitting courtside, you should also have the responsibility that comes with that.
Yeah, and obviously that whole episode was inexcusable, but it goes back to what we talked about a few weeks ago, what I was saying, the fans sit too close in NBA games. It's crazy.
It's going to get revoked now.
And I know, like, that wasn't even on the bench side, so, like, that happens normally. Like, fans have always sat courtside at NBA games. Like, my beef was with them sitting so close to the benches and the coaches and stuff. But it's just kind of funny that it lines with that gripe that I have that fans are sitting too close, and now that was the drama. We haven't even talked about the actual games, basically, because this could all be dated by the time this episode comes out.
There could be a winner.
This is Monday, and Toronto could close it out, having a 3-1 lead tonight in the sixth. It was cool. I flew Air Canada to China and back, so we had layovers in Toronto, and so when we got off in Toronto on what day was that? Friday, the flight attendant or whoever came over the loudspeaker was like, and we want to wish our Toronto Raptors good luck in representing Canada in the NBA Finals. It was just such a Canadian thing to do.
I feel like of all the hype zones outside of stadiums, the Jurassic Park is one place I would want to visit.
I mean, it's just such an easy situation to root for, right, with the Raptors, because they're the team that's kind of had embarrassing exits this whole decade, really. They haven't been able to get over the hump. I think most people are sick of Golden State's dynasty, and they're ready for it to be over. And like you said, just the buy-in. It's not just one city. It's like a lot, probably, I assume, the majority of the country rooting for the Raptors, and in the United States, too. I don't know how you feel.
No, absolutely. I mean, it's going to be really interesting. Again, this could be dated if Kevin Durant brings anything for the Golden State Warriors.
If he comes back. It's been a fascinating series to observe from afar, because I was kind of piecing together information that I was able to get, and it wasn't necessarily the most cohesive way to follow a series, but like I'm confused about what's going on with Durant. Like, is he coming back? Is he playing? What's Thompson's status? There's been a lot of injuries, I know, but I think Golden State's good enough that they can overcome those excuses. But yeah, with the joke, I think, kind of goes in Canada that most Canadians look at Toronto like we would look at New York, or a city that a lot of people just crap on and don't like. But I think this Raptors team has kind of overcome that stigma in their home country. I think I assume they've got all of Canada behind them, and like I said, a good chunk of the U.S. as well.
Yeah, so we'll see. But like you said, there's our second final series going on, which is the most cringe situation we have to talk about, which happened this weekend.
You're talking about the Stanley Cup and the newspaper leaking the winning ad. Yeah, so let's set the scene. Stanley Cup Final, Blues and Bruins are going to a Game 7 as it stands right now, and they're going to a Game 7 because St. Louis could not close out the Boston Bruins at home on Sunday night.
Or prematurely jinx themselves.
Yeah, exactly. And the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, the paper down in St. Louis, prematurely leaked ad copy, ads, and I think copy in the newspaper that was congratulatory, as if the Blues had won the Stanley Cup. Like, it's right there, the logo, like Stanley Cup champions, St. Louis Blues, congratulations, a statement from the owner, like statement on where the parade's going to be. Everything was out there, and I actually just saw that today. Like, I didn't notice it until today, but it totally jinxed the Blues.
Yeah, I mean, I think it came out just on their e-edition, like their obviously
just like
couldn't be printed yet. But still,
I don't know how that happens. And like, I'm sympathetic toward newspapers for the most part, because it's a tough landscape right now. Like, they're probably understaffed. Mistakes, I think, are more prone to happen in this era of newspapers, just because staffs have been cut. Like, it's probably overworked people. I could see how maybe a mistake would happen, but
Yeah, that was hard to swallow.
That's a cringy one. And now they go back to Boston for
Game 7.
Game 7, which we've talked about it. I'm sick of Boston winning. I want the Blues to win. I wish we would have closed it out, but they really never got in that game. Sunday night, I was watching. They couldn't break through, and all of a sudden, Boston was up 3-0, and then 5-1. So
we'll see if they can come back from that.
Yeah, and once those summer sports end, it's pretty much baseball from here on out, which is a fun distraction right now. But the games, being 162 of them, aren't always the most significant. So other distractions that we can use to occupy our summer, besides going out and enjoying the weather, are some of these shows coming out.
Big Little Lies specifically, which you need to get on board with ASAP.
Explain Big Little Lies to me, because right now, the beginning of June has been a bunch of show drops.
Yes, it's amazing.
Really good shows coming out, and with their newest seasons. And I'd heard of Big Little Lies, but I don't know what it is, so please explain.
Okay, so it's based off of a book. So they had the first season. It was only like 7 or 8 episodes on HBO Go, or HBO. And I don't want to give anything away in case people want to catch up. It's just this plot around a murder. And the first season, you're figuring out who died, who did it, vendetta, motives, etc. So the second season, there was only one book. So the second season is completely in now the television writer's discretion. But exciting because Meryl Streep has joined the cast, which just another big name to join.
Queen.
Reese Witherspoon, Nicole Kidman. Like, this is just a star-studded cast, and it's so entertaining. And it's set in Monterey, so it's beautiful, and the music selection is just fantastic. Me and my girlfriends are obsessed.
What's the word to describe opposites in a title, like jumbo shrimp? What's the word where it's like
juxtaposition?
It's a juxtaposition, but it's a contradiction. Oxymoron. Yeah, the title's an oxymoron.
Big Little Lies. Yeah.
I saw a joke on Twitter today that was like somebody like angrily calling HBO and demanding to know like what the deal is with these lies, because
are they big? Are they small?
Exactly.
Yes, but a show we both watch, Handmaid's Tale, also dropped their first episode.
Bring Handmaid's Tale. Season 3 came out this past week. I really like what Hulu does with their subscription. I don't know if other streaming services or services do this, but you can pause your subscription. So like I subscribed for a month to watch the end of season 2 of Handmaid's Tale a few weeks ago. Didn't want it to run out, and so I was going to cancel, and it gave me the option to pause my subscription and pick it up at another time, and I could finish the last like 2 weeks, whatever. So I think I have still like 2 weeks of my Hulu subscription in the bank. Could probably just binge Handmaid's Tale coming up here, and it'll still cost me the same. So I would like that feature.
There you go. Hey.
You can also get BTN on Hulu, so.
Huge.
Free plug for them.
Plug.
The other show that came back, one of my favorites, is Black Mirror.
That show freaks me out.
Yeah, I mean, it's a disturbing show overall, but like I think it's really entertaining for the most part.
I pick and choose which episodes, and like it just messes with my mind.
However, I'm a little disappointed because this season there's only 3 episodes in this newest release, season 5, I think it is. Usually there's at least 5 or 6 episodes. I guess if you count the movie they came out with, the interactive movie they came out with in January, I think it was, like maybe you can kind of say that's 4 episodes, but like 3 episodes is kind of weak, especially since we waited a year and a half for the season to come out.
Does this have like a devout cult following?
I just think it's pretty popular because like it's Netflix and it's pretty widely accessible, and like there's no I can't remember what the term is, but the shows don't run consecutively. Like it's every episode is a different kind of mini movie in itself.
Okay,
so,
right.
And I've watched 1.5 of this season's 3 episodes, and I fell asleep in halfway through the second episode, and it's not been as solid as like a couple of the other seasons. So
5 seasons, that's like a lot.
Yeah, Miley Cyrus is also in.
Okay, that's what I've been.
I haven't seen that one yet.
I would watch that one.
But like, I think the consensus so far is like this season's kind of weak compared to.
Wow.
So we'll see.
Okay.
So yeah, those 3 shows are the big ones. I don't know if any other ones are out right now. Stranger Things is still like a month out.
Okay,
I don't watch that. But
you should.
I know, I've heard it's good.
It's a good one, but yeah, definitely things to fill the void when sports are slowing down.
So we're talking about all these indoor activities. It's summer. The weather's pretty good here, I think. Oh, I haven't been here in a while, but it seems nice outside. So we should be outside.
Yeah, beach volleyball team is full swing. Got our first dub.
Oh, congrats.
Yeah.
Is this PTN?
No,
volleyball?
this is just friends, recreational.
Okay, I was gonna say I missed that invite. If so, and it's also being in Chicago, it's kind of known for street fests and all the different neighborhoods, and things to do in the summer. It's full on street fest season.
It's definitely picking up. Yeah, we had Jazz Fest this past weekend.
Have you gone to any?
I didn't go to Jazz Fest. I walked through the Old Town Art Fair.
Me too. I was there yesterday.
There you go.
Did you go?
I did.
How
On
was
Saturday. Did not buy any art.
Really?
No.
I'd never been to that one. Like in years past, I've gone in the 2 or 3 summers I lived here. I've gone to there's like a German one. I've gone to a barbecue one. These are all just like kind of scattered culturally throughout different neighborhoods. There's one near my street, Southport something fest. I don't know. I'm struggling with the names here, but that Old Town Art Fest, I didn't know really what to expect. I'm not really an artsy person, but there was a lot of cool art and like things that you could buy there, and I felt like I was a few years away from like really diving in, like splurging there, because I feel like it was all stuff I could decorate my future house with. Like,
did you invest? Did you get anything?
I did buy a couple things.
Look at you.
Yeah, I spent I went in.
A patron of the arts.
I went in, not only did I pay the suggested donation, which that's always a sucker's.
Okay, $8 suggested donation is kind of a hefty suggested donation.
Yeah, for as much money as people are spending in there, the whole suggested donation thing, it always makes me uncomfortable. But like I can usually never say no. I usually have to just like bite the bullet and pay, and I did. And then I went in and like dropped $100 more on art, and I was like, man, I did not plan on doing this or spending any money, and here I'm walking out poor after like a few ATM trips. So
that's kind of fun. Good for you.
Yeah. So good time. Any other festivals coming up? Like these are you got your Taste of Chicago, right? I feel like that's like a touristy, like,
right.
kind of
But
overwhelming.
these small ones are fun
these
and
are the
cool
fun
and different. But yeah,
brings the community together.
Yeah, coming up, I know there's like the Lake Shake one. That's like just like country music. That's not necessarily a festival.
Isn't that it's like a music festival?
Yeah,
it is
it's
a music.
Yeah, it's music though, not like food.
You need like tickets for that one.
Yeah.
Anything else coming up?
I feel like there's a lot, but
June is like the big season for that, and then it leads right into 4th of July. And this summer, like, it's crazy. I know being gone for a couple weeks really accelerated things, but the summer's going so fast. It's already like almost mid-June.
No, see, I don't think it's like summer's just about to start, and hopefully it's going to go till November, since I was still wearing a big coat as of last week.
That's true, weather-wise.
So like I completely it's not even
and
summer.
You know, as a noted and I guess like outspoken sweater in the sweating community here, I embrace these 60-degree temperatures. I don't need to get much hotter than this the rest of the summer.
Oh my god, I do.
No, like keep it under 80 degrees for me, and I'm perfectly content. Like I don't need to be. I know you're a big walker and you're able to walk 20 minutes each way to work and like not break a sweat, but that's not the case for me. So let's keep these temperatures how they are.
For Alex's homeostasis.
Yeah, and for like the quality of my clothes, like I don't want to come in dripping.
Yeah, and I guess like me too, since we're in the same vicinity in the office.
Right, exactly. So for everyone's benefit, let's just keep this weather. I like wearing long sleeves. I like my crew necks. I like
no, dude, you're wrong.
The jeans and long sleeves look. So
come the 21st when summer officially starts, it better be 85 and sunny.
All right. Well, I don't know who you're gonna take it up with if not. But, yeah, we're gonna keep moving on the show this summer. Got to get back in the swing of things and line up some guests again. Shout out to Brent for locking down Bruno. Super jealous because I'm a big fan of Bruno. Like I'm bummed that I did not get to meet him and kind of stand in his presence. I guess I met him at Media Day kind of, but it's not the same as like getting one-on-one interview. So. Good job, Brent. I hope people enjoyed the interview. We got another Maryland player on, which is like the second in the last month or so. So that's good for the Terps and for us. Colleen, before we go, do you have anything else you want to get to on this Monday?
Just just grooving along here.
All right, cool. So let's circle back, do this again next week. Maybe get our studio back if they're not working on the building.
Yeah, we won't be whispering hopefully next time.
Yeah. Although I think there might be an echo in here, but I think it sounds pretty good. We'll have to see. And
throwing off our game on this remote location. But until then, I'll talk to you next time.
Cool. Good catching up. All right. Thanks once again to Colleen, Bruno, and Brent for making this episode what it was. It was a lot of fun. I will be back in the saddle for the next few weeks at least, without hopefully any interruptions, doing interviews going forward, and we'll get some good guests lined up for you here on the Take 10 podcast as summer gets in full swing. The Big Ten sports are, for the most part, with the exception of Michigan baseball, are over for the school year, the academic year. So we'll see you soon here on the Take 10 podcast. Thanks as always to everyone for listening. Thanks to my producers, Julie Bronder and Wes White for stitching the show together in post-production. And we will talk to you soon here on the Take 10 podcast.